No one is waiting for you. That's right. No one is waiting for you. Now, what do I mean? Today, I'm going to share a little bit about how recently my phone hasn't been ringing as much, my email hasn't been popping, text, and yes, there's been a lot of spam still. That doesn't go away. But I wasn't getting the right kinds of contacts. And I was thinking, is there something I've done? Is something I've said? What is going on? Am I irrelevant? Have I lost all relevancy? And as I was getting down on myself, I took a long, hard look in the mirror, and I said, Riaz, no one is waiting for you. And you know what? It's true. It's true. I think we all like to think that we're the most important thing in the world, but we are to ourselves. But no one is waiting for you. So today, I'm going to share a little bit about how perhaps maybe your business isn't growing, you're not getting those good opportunities that you once were, or that you're looking to get, and you're trying to really figure out this whole business thing, or marketing or sales piece. As like, hey, how come things aren't growing? What's happening here? Is it the economy? Right? Of course. There's all sorts of reasons why things aren't happening. And I want to say here today that things aren't happening because we aren't creating our own opportunities. And we're not creating our own opportunities because we're not initiating. You must initiate. So today I have a list of items here all around this idea that no one's waiting for you. Wah, wah, right? Mini violin, big violin, no one's waiting for you, right? So how can you get more business? How can you get the phone to be ringing more and get more responses? Okay. So after this happened, I've gone through a little bit of a move here, and as things are settling, I had a moment where I was like, a moment of awakening, and it was like, you know what? I need to pick up the phone. Start getting out there again. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go through the items. I'm going to go through the different things here. Okay, so you must initiate, in all caps, you must initiate more than you can ever imagine. So regardless of what stage of your business you're at, as much as you think you got to initiate, do outreaches, connect with people, it's 10 times that, right? So if you haven't been initiating enough, if you haven't been getting out there, that's probably the first likely suspect as to why you're not getting as much activity, okay? You single-handedly have to make the effort. You can't wait for anyone, right? Just like no one's waiting for you, you can't be waiting for someone else. I see a lot of business owners that spend way too much time thinking and not enough time doing. And when you get into those thinking stages of your business, which is normal, you have to pull yourself back and make sure that you're actually executing and focusing on doing and getting things done. Okay, and you need to concentrate on the prize. You need to reflect on your why, right? That's what's going to help you to initiate. So initiation, okay? Number two point that I want to make here today. People think I'm lucky. Things have gone well. The business has gone well. We've grown. And you know what? I am lucky. But I've also worked my tail off to make the opportunities that I've been given and created for myself into something, right? So it's good to be lucky. Great, that's fine. And you're lucky too, right? We're all lucky. You just need to go after the opportunities and initiate and create opportunities for yourself. That's how you create luck, right? Again, no one's waiting for you. You have to outreach to them, okay? So people can say you're lucky, or people might say I'm lucky, but every time I pick up the phone, I'm rolling that dice again to get out there and see who I can help, right? Who I can help and bring value to. Activity breeds results. I did another video around different words that have helped us to grow, words that I use, and I'll link to that below. But one of the things I talked about was results being a word, and how activity breeds results. Okay, so what does activity mean to you? Is it picking up the phone? Is it doing an outreach? Is it attending an event? Is it sending a cold email, a warm email? Is it doing a webinar? Is it shaking hands, going to a store shaking hands? Is it creating campaigns? Is it doing files. So whatever your activity is, the more you do of it will bring you results. Now, this is obvious. There's nothing mind-blowing here, but sometimes we forget, right? We just look at, oh, look, that person's so lucky and they're getting all these opportunities. Well, create opportunities, initiate, and then have a lot of activity over and over and over again, right? Have more conversations. Have more conversations where you're connecting with people. And sometimes, especially when you're in a rut, have conversations with anyone about anything, right? Like, don't go in with an agenda. If you go in with an agenda, it reeks, right? It reeks of desperation, right? So go out there, learn about other people's businesses, listen to understand, right? Bring value, share how you can help, and eventually people will help you too, right? So that's also important. So yes, no one's waiting for you, but don't wait for them to come and do business with you. Go out and do business with them and figure out how you can help them, okay? Count the I's and the U's. Now, what I mean by this is if you find yourself in a pattern of I all the time and not in a pattern of you, things are going to go like this. And I know this because I've seen it firsthand in other businesses and people that I've run into. And I've also noticed that sometimes when I'm talking more about myself and the head gets a little big, right? That's when people kind of move away from you. You want to pull people in, and the best way to pull people in is to talk about them, right? People care about themselves. So learn about other people. Use you more, right? I want to learn about you. I want to know about you and what is troubling you and what excites you and what your goals are. And even me just saying this, you're like, oh, Riaz wants to know about me. Okay, it makes you feel good, right? So go out to learn about others, not to talk about yourself. Okay, and this can be a bit challenging. Like for us, like we've won these awards and accolades and things like that, and it's hard to not to be like, oh, but I'm this and I'm so great. And it's like no one cares, right? So talk about you, the other person. Share how you can help them, right? So if you count the I's and the U's. If you're using too many I's and not enough U's, that's not a good thing. Okay. If you're consuming, you aren't producing. So there was a book in 2008 that I read called Wikinomics, and it talks about the producer and the consumer. Right. Right now, you are consuming this video, and I am producing it. Right. So take a measure of how much you're consuming in life, whether that's watching, learning, reading, shopping, watching TV, YouTube, whatever that is, versus how much you're producing, like the value that you are bringing to the world, whether it's helping through video, through your business, your service offering, whatever that is, right? So do a kind of a mental tally of how much you're producing for the world versus how much you're consuming from the world, and you'll probably get a good sense of where your balance book is, if I'm being honest, right? So the more time you spend producing content, services, things for other products, for people, the more you can charge for them and the more value you can bring and the more your business will thrive. The more you're consuming, you're wasting money and time, potentially, right? So there's a certain degree of consuming that needs to happen in order to learn and become better, but focus on producing and less on consuming, okay? Create more content, right? So if you're feeling like, hey, no one's waiting for me, no activity, nothing's going on, create more content, right? Like this is maybe showed up in your LinkedIn feed or on Facebook feed, or maybe you're just on YouTube anyways, and you're like, hey, what's this video about? You're learning about me, you're becoming familiar with me. Maybe I'm just like a profile icon on your LinkedIn, and you're like, hey, what's this Riaz guy all about anyways? I want to find out. And you're like, oh, he's actually nice guy, maybe, right? So become familiar with other people, right? So every chance I get to go for lunch with someone or coffee or get out there, I'm becoming more familiar with them and they're becoming more familiar with me. And right now you're sitting at home and or wherever you're watching this from, and you're becoming more familiar with me. That's good for me, right? That's good for you too, right? So to stay relevant, become more familiar, okay? And the way to do that is to create more content. Remember, social media isn't always social. Now, what I mean here is if I post videos all the time and you see me on your news feed, but I don't invite you for a lunch or a coffee or ask about your business challenges or, hey, do you have any challenges with your digital marketing, right? Like that's on me, It's one thing to be social or to put out social media posts, right? It's another thing to actually talk to people, convert them, help them with their business problems, right? So don't be a social media warrior alone in isolation. Get out there, get in the trenches, talk to people, make deals, partnerships. How can you help? Find new vendors, sell your product and service, right? Get out there, be a part of the community, not just behind the screen, okay? Or in front of the screen on other people's news feeds without talking to them. Okay, next one. Don't have an agenda. Don't have an agenda all the time, right? So it's good to have an agenda, but when you have an agenda, that's not really like serving the relationship, right? It's like it's kind of business is good, and you want to focus on business. You want to be serious, and you want to be taken seriously, right? But if you always have an agenda, and you're always that person that's like, oh, this person's always trying to sell me, or they're always trying to like one up me, or trying to find an angle. It's like sometimes it's good just to go for a coffee and say and to shoot the shit, right? Like when I first started the business, I went on 100 coffee meetings, no agenda, didn't have to be the right decision maker. It was just like, hey, like I'm doing this thing, and I want you to know about it and get the awareness out there. And how can I help you? Again, how can I help you, right? Another thing, humble up. Humble up. This is just a general statement. I'm not saying you need to necessarily humble up, but stay humble, right? It's easy when things are starting to move along and you're getting traction with your business. Don't let the head get too big. I know a lot of people that meet me after a while that haven't seen me for a while. They're like, oh, Riaz is going very well. Must have a big head now. And then I'm just like, same old guy. I had coffee with a buddy last week, and I think he was expecting me to be like this egomaniac, and who knows, maybe I am. But like, it was very humble and genuine, and it was nice. It was nice to connect with someone from a long time ago, and I know that he was a bit like, oh yeah, Riaz, he's still the same guy. So two things here, which is stay humble and don't change who you fundamentally are as a person. Don't sell out for your business, right? Buy into your business and buy into everyone around you and connect with people, but don't sell out your core values. Okay. When you do get to business, figure out what the customer's pain is, figure out the impact of that pain, figure out how their life will change once their pain is gone, and be the pain eliminator, right? Be the pain eliminator, right? Like, I've talked a little bit about not having an agenda, but like people do have an agenda, right? So make sure that when you're meeting with someone that you're taking care of them and that you are coming with a clear solution that's going to help their business or them as a person to grow, right? So figure out the pain, figure out the impact of that pain, consequence, figure out what is required to eliminate that pain, and then be the pain eliminator, okay? And then be confident that you can help. And if you can't, work on improving your solution until you can. So this has happened actually, I think when you start off in the business, you're like, say yes to everything and then figure it out later. And then I've reached a certain point in the business where it's like, that's not really good. That's not really smart for your business or your reputation, right? So what you want to do in that case is, if you can't help, be honest about that and refer that person to someone that can help, right? Maybe it's someone in a different industry that you're not familiar with. Maybe it's a client that's too big and your team is too small, right? So I can sit here knowing with a hand on heart that our team is world-class, that we have amazing players on our team that can help. Our client experience is top-notch. Our performance team is unbelievable. Our digital products and design team is amazing, right? So like I know that unequivocally, and I need to know that in order to be able to convey that to our potential clients, because no one wants to be kind of snake oil salesman, right? So have a great product, have a great solution, and again, always be working on improving it, right? We've been working tirelessly to improve our systems and processes and team and all that stuff over 7 years, and now it's now I'm like, okay, this is a real proper business. Not that it wasn't before. When you're in business, you always feel like it's not proper, right? So we're solid and it's great. And it feels good and it makes it easier to sell, right? So I guess the point is that be confident that you can help others, and if you can't, work on improving. Okay. And the last point is when someone says no, they aren't rejecting you. they aren't rejecting you, right? They're just making you, or they're forcing you to be smarter, right? And what I mean is that when you're in sales or you're going to grow in a business, in the back of your head somewhere, you need to have a voice that's saying, anyone that doesn't do business with me is an idiot. Now, you might be watching this and you don't do business with us and you're like, am I an idiot? Well, maybe. No, like whether that's true or not, as the business owner, as the salesperson, I need to believe that anyone in this world that isn't working with us is dumb and idiot and stuff, stupid. And you tell yourself that because that actually forces you to do the things that you need to in your business to be better so that you can sell that client and bring that client on and bring value to them. And honestly, anytime someone that starts working with us after, they're like, you know what, you're right, I'm getting value. I'm getting value, and our customers, we're getting more customers, we're growing, we're getting more value, we love your team, we feel a part of your team, we feel like your team is a part of us. So if you're struggling in growing your business, right, A, no one's waiting for you, but B, if you're talking to someone, have that voice in your head being like, you know what, they would be really smart if they worked with us. You have to believe that. And if you don't believe that, you got to work on your business and your product or your service. Okay? So no one's waiting for you. No one's waiting for you. You must go and initiate. Go have conversations. Go have 100 coffee dates, right? Keep humble, stay humble, right? The moment the head gets too big, you're like, well, everyone's waiting for me, right? Better get there. It's like you get there and it's like, no one's waiting for you, okay? So if you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, pumping out lots of videos once a week on all ways you can scale your business and how we've done it. I'm excited to continue this journey with you. If you enjoyed this video, click one of these other videos and you'll get some value out of it. And I will see you next week.